Very warm wishes of the day, my dear lovely student. How are you all? I welcome everyone back to school, or I should say, back to virtual school. Welcome you all. I hope you have enjoyed your vacations too, and now it's time to get back to your studies. So, before we actually start our class, I would like to start the day with a beautiful message which says, never stop believing in hope because miracles happen every day. So, this has a very beautiful meaning. I think everyone must apply this in their lives. So, hello everyone, this is Gunjan. I welcome everyone to my GK classes. Today, we are going to discuss two very important topic. These are I Love My India and second is the current quiz. In the topic I Love My India, I'll be telling you the complete story from where the journey started and from till the journey we have accomplished. So these two topics of today are very important. You must listen to each and every topic very carefully, and then let's start our class. So, ready everyone? Let's start our class. Okay. So, the very first topic says, I love my India. I love my India. In this, I'll be taking you to the journey from the very first war of independence to India became independent. From the very first war of independence to India became independence. Let's recall those important years briefly. In this journey, I may not be able to explain you each and every aspect in very detail, but I'll be giving you an overall idea and overall summary of the years that have led to the accomplishment of India to be independent. So let's start. Okay, so the journey started in the year 1857. In 1857, the first war of independence was fought. For this, they want that independence should be there, and this is the year which is very important, as 1857 made the people think that we should be independent in our nation. So, after 1857, from 1858 to 1885, what happened? The Britishers rule. Why did British rule? Because of the kings and landlords. These are the two people who have given the permissions to the Britishers to make their company established in India, and with the help of which they continued coming to India and making their rule in India possible. So, and after establishing the country's factories, they did allow the Indians to join as their government servants. Indians were joining the British government as their servant, and also Indians were also joining the British army. This is a huge step which British government take so that they can accomplish their rule in India by offering the Indians the jobs in as the British government servant or in the British army, which led to their establishment of rule in India. Now, in 1885, A.O. Hume was a very important person because it led to the formation of INC, that means Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress was formed. The purpose of this INC was to give the Indians a platform so that they can put their thoughts in front of the British government. So, in this, everyone was given the opportunity so that they can speak their talk, or they can serve their talks in front of the British government. So since we know that there are rich people and there are poor people, when the British government was ruling from the period of 1858 to 1855, rich were not having many of the problems, but poor were the ones who were most affected. So poor people were mostly affected. With the formation of INC, again rich do participate in this, but since they were not having any of the problem, it did not lead to much of the solution. Whereas poor people were having problem, they were still not able to keep their demands in front of British government. So this make us reach to the early 1900. Now there was one important person in this who was Dada Bhai Naroji. Dada Bhai Naroji was a member of Indian National Congress and he was very educated. Reaching 1900, we got a very strong person who was Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Bal Gangadhar Tilak. I must say he was the very first person who did not want any superiority or dominion status for the Indian people. He want the complete freedom. He want Britishers to leave India, and he always have strongly opposed this, that we in Britishers should leave India. Now seeing the behavior and seeing this, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, they have started the Swaraj Andolan. Swaraj means freedom. Swaraj Andolan. Seeing the behavior of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, British government obviously wasn't happy. So they assumed that Bal Gangadhar Tilak may create hatred in the people mind against the British government. While all this was happening in 1905, what did British government do? It divided the Bengal. It led the partition of Bengal, and also the Swadeshi movement was formed after that. When the British government take this step, the partition of Bengal, Indians were highly raged. They were not happy at all that on the basis of religions to take the revenge from the Indian people who were against the British government. What did they do? They partitioned the Bengal. But this step led to a very huge raise in the people, amongst the people, for the British government, and they do not want this. So they formed a Swadeshi movement. Also in 1906, Muslim League was also formed. As I told you that they have done the partition of Bengal on the basis of religion, which was not a good step. It led to the formation of Muslim League as well. Now moving ahead, when all this was happening, Bal Gangadhar Tilak was also present because he was against the British government. In 1905, Bal Gangadhar Tilak was arrested and he was put in jail. Now in 1911, seeing the rise of the people, when the people were more angry, the partition of Bengal was revoked. That means it was dissolved and the partition of Bengal was taken back by the British government. Now we also know that the First World War took place in between 1914 to 18. In the meanwhile, while the punishment of the Bal Gangadhar Tilak was complete, in 1914, Bal Gangadhar Tilak came out from the jail. Also, I would like to tell, in 1915, Mahatma Gandhi also came to India from Africa to observe the condition of India, because many of the social activists were visiting India to see the condition, to observe the condition. In 1916, Home Rule movement was formed by Annie Besant, because the purpose of this was to give India the dominion status. Means everywhere the Indian should be given the priority. 1918 to 1947, it was the emergence of Mahatma Gandhi as the leader of the people and the Gandhian era. Means this was the time where Gandhi took the charge, because in 1920 Bal Gangadhar Tilak died. Now, when this all was happening in 1919, I'll erase. In 1919, Rowlett Act was formed. Rowlett Act was formed, and according to this act, the British government can put anyone in jail, anyone they can arrest, because everyone they can see the situation that Indians were against the Britishers, so they passed this act that anyone can be put in jail. So because there were more revolutionaries in India. Also in 1919, Jallianwala Bagh massacre also took place, which was another a huge step for the Indians to reach. Means Indians were against the British government, but this led to the increase in the number of revolutionaries, since this was not a good step by the British government. So in 1920, Non-Cooperation Movement was formed. In this Non-Cooperation Movement, it was started by Mahatma Gandhi, because in this Mahatma Gandhi wanted that they should leave foreign things, they should leave foreign jobs. Means they should not support the British government in any terms by not using the products that are being given by the British government. They should make their own home product, and they should not use any foreign thing, anything which is being given by the British government. No help should be given, because while the First World War was there, Indians took part in the First World War, and they also helped the Britishers, so that because they think that अगर वो उनकी हेल्प करेंगे they will also get something back and they will get the dominion status in India. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हुआ, but this did not happen. So it also was a huge step that 1920 non-cooperation movement was started, because they have observed that Britishers have not helped them anyhow. Even after Indians were helping them, they did not take any step for the Indians. So they decided that non-cooperation movement should be there, and there were a huge number of participants in this movement. Also, while this all was happening, Congress was popular. The Indian National Congress was very popular at that time. Mahatma Gandhi also became very popular, and as I told, in 1920 Bal Gangadhar Tilak died. So after him, Mahatma Gandhi was one of the important leader who was having all the charges that if they want freedom, they have to do something. So in 1922, civil disobedience movement was launched, and Chori Chora incident also took place. In Chori Chora incident, 22 policemen were killed because by a crowd attack, the police station was set to fire and 22 policemen were killed. So this was not the motive of Mahatma Gandhi. They do not want any violence, so they stopped this non-cooperation movement. And Mahatma Gandhi was also arrested in 1922. Though he was given the imprisonment of 6 years, but he came out of the jail after only 2 years. In between this 1922 to 1929, many things happened. Simon Commission was also formed. Lala Lajpat Rai, who was another important leader, he was done with the lathi charge in 1928. Lala Lajpat Rai also died, and because Lala Lajpat Rai died, Bhagat Singh was very upset, and he was very keen to take the revenge of this. So all this happened, and in 1929 call for Purna Swaraj, means complete independence, was demanded. They do not want any dominion status now, but complete independence was demanded. In 1930, Purna Swaraj, or I should say 6 January 1930 was the day which was celebrated as Purn Swaraj Day. Even the flag was hosted. So in 1930 was an important day. 1930 Dandi March or Salt Satyagraha was also there to break the salt law, because earlier the Indians were not allowed to make their own salt. So Mahatma Gandhi requested everyone to make their own salt, and they took the charge of this Dandi March. They went to the Sabarmati, from Sabarmati ashram to the sea, and they do so to break the salt law. While all these things were happening in 1914, the demand for Pakistan was also made. In 1942, Quit India movement was also launched because the situation was very worse. In 1939 to 1942, we have the Second World War also. Subhash Chandra Bose was another important leader who formed the Quit India movement, and also he formed the Indian National Army in 1942. 1940 Indian National Army was formed by him, and he wanted so many Indian revolutionaries to participate in this and to help India. In 1946, mutiny by Indian sailors of the Royal Indian Navy was there. In 1946, visit of the cabinet mission sent by the British Prime Minister Lord Attlee was also there. In 1946, Indian government led by the Jawaharlal Nehru was formed. Muslim League did not join in this. 1946 only, direct action by Muslim League was taken. They persisted its demand for a separate state for Muslim. Basically, after this 1942 Quit India movement, there were so many changes, and the people were so raised at this time that they want just complete independence. In fact, in 1942, after this Quit India movement by Mahatma Gandhi, they also give the slogan of do or die, karo ya maro, because this is the high time when we are fighting for the complete independence. So it led to so many things that happened in our history, and finally in 1947 the Mountbatten Plan came, and the partition of India, Bengal and Punjab, and the partition of India also happened. Bengal and Punjab were also partitioned. 15th August 1947, as you know, is a date in the history which was written in the golden words that India became independent. So this was a short summary of all the years that you need to think over, that the journey was not very simple. It started from the early 1857 and it ended with the 1947. So you can imagine, with the leaders, with the freedom fighters we have in our Indian history, this was not easy at all. They took many steps. In fact, many revolutionaries were there who did try many a times that they should be killed, Britishers should be thrown out, and everything was done, even in the history. So these things only led to the freedom of India. Now, second thing is the current quiz. In this, we will be discussing about some of the cabinet ministers, some of the important positions of India, starting with the first, that is President of India. Who is the current President of India? Ramnath Kovind. Second is Vice President. Who is the current Vice President of India? He is Mr. M. Venkaiah Naidu. Next is Prime Minister of India. Even if I would not have written the name, you already know that he is Mr. Narendra Modi. Next comes the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Who is the Speaker of Lok Sabha? Mr. Om Birla. You can see the picture also. Now next comes the Chief Justice of India. He is Mr. Sharad Arvind Bobde. He is the 47th Chief Justice of India. Next comes the Chief Election Commissioner. Who is he? He is Mr. Sunil Arora. You can see the picture also. Next is Chief of Army Staff. Chief of Army Staff is General Manoj Mukund Narwane. You can see the picture also. Next is Chief of Naval Staff. He is Mr. Admiral Karambir Singh. You can see the picture also. I have kept the picture so that they got somewhere stick in your mind, and these are quite easy to remember. Next is Chief of Air Staff. He is Mr. Rakesh Kumar Singh Bhadoria. Next is Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces is the President only, so he is Mr. Ramnath Kovind only. Next is Lieutenant Governor of National Capital Territory. First thing is you must know what is the National Capital Territory of India. It's Delhi. And who is the Lieutenant Governor? He is Mr. Anil Baijal. You can see the picture also. Next is Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry. She is Miss Kiran Bedi. You can see the picture also. Next is Attorney General of India. He is Mr. K.K. Venugopal. You can see him in the picture. Next is Defence Minister of India, Mr. Rajnath Singh. Defence Minister of India is Mr. Rajnath Singh. Next is Finance Minister of India. She is Miss Nirmala Sitharaman. She presents the budget of India in February. Foreign Minister of India. He is Mr. Subramanyam Jaishankar. You can see the picture also here. Next is Home Minister of India. You must have heard this name many a times along with Mr. Narendra Modi. So he is Mr. Amit Shah. Home Minister of India is Mr. Amit Shah. Next is Coach of Indian Cricket Team. Who is the Coach of Indian Cricket Team? He is Mr. Ravi Shastri. Next is President of BCCI. Now what do you mean by BCCI? BCCI means Board of Cricket Control of India. So the President of BCCI is Mr. Saurav Ganguly. Chief Minister of National Capital Territory. As I have already told you that National Capital Territory of India is Delhi, and Chief Minister of the same is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. You can see the picture here. Next comes the coach of Indian hockey team. As you know that hockey is our national game. So coach of Indian hockey team is Mr. Graham Reid. Next is captain of Indian football team. He is Mr. Sunil Chetri. Now students, what you have to do is in your book. So this is your GK book. What you have to do is you have to fill firstly this page, my personal diary. Paste your photograph here and fill all the details here. I'll just explain you your name, father name, mother name, school name, you are studying in which class, the name of your school principal, your class teacher name, I live at. You have to mention the place where you live, your father's contact number. Now you have to tell here whether you live in a joint family or not. Your father by profession, occupation of your father, your mother's occupation. Now I would suggest you simply have to write either she is a working lady or housewife. If your mother is a housewife, please do not write housewife. In place of housewife, just write homemaker. Always use this word for your mother if she is a housewife. If she is a homemaker. How many brothers and sisters do you have? Name of your brothers, name of your sisters. You have to take this. If your grandparents live with you, take this. If your grandparents do not live with you, take this. Your home address, and this page is done. So firstly you have to fill all your personal diary. Second thing is you have to read all this. Whatever I was explaining, this was given here because it was really a long struggle in which lakhs of people, children, young, old, women, and men fighting against the British rule sacrificed their life, and also they made their nation proud. So, this was all which I was explaining you through the story. So, you must go through all these things, all these years, and you must know these very important dates. Second thing is that we have discussed is the current quiz. What you have to do is you have to fill all these details and write all the answers here. I'll do one for you, like the President of India. Who is the President of India? Mr. Ramnath Kovind. Yes. So fill the details of all these that I have discussed around. I have discussed 22. So fill this page completely in your book and solve this. So that's all for today. Stay home, stay safe, keep learning. Thank you all for listening. God bless you all. Thank you.